What are the top business activities that you as a consultant need to be focused on in 2025 to ensure that you have an extremely successful year? And I'll say even to go beyond 2025, thinking about the future of you and your business. So I'm going to share with you 5 things that I think are incredibly important and very relevant, very timely, that will again help you as a consultant to become a confident consulting business owner. The first we have to address, as some people would call the elephant in the room, what everybody is talking about, or at least a lot of people are talking about, and that is AI. We're going to be having a lot more content coming to you about AI, the impact of AI on consulting. Just actually finished recording something with Michelle on our team, the head of growth at Consulting Success. But let me come back to what I want to talk about with you today. There's 2 things that are incredibly critical for your business related to AI that I will touch on. So number 1 is to look at the impact of AI on your business. And AI, regardless of what you think about it, is going to be or play a factor in the long-term success of your business. The short way to say it is that if you are sticking your head in the sand, if you are thinking that things will just kind of get back to the way they were before AI became mainstream, or at least everybody started talking about it, I think you will be disappointed. I think you will be surprised, and likely your business will suffer. What do I mean by that? It's really critical that you pay attention to what is happening in AI, because if you don't and your competitors do, you will be falling behind. If you think about the 4 kind of core components or parts of a business, you have marketing, you have sales, you have delivery, and you have operations. And you can call those by different names, right? Some people might say fulfillment instead of delivery, but those are the 4 main functions of any business, right? If we're at a high level view, you should be thinking about what is the implication and application of AI in each of those. Now, if you're a solo consultant or a small consulting firm, it would be probably a very poor decision to try and implement AI in all of them. And I would also say it's probably a bad idea to think about what is my AI strategy and spend a lot of time trying to plan out how to implement AI in a big way, or on a project, a really big project, a big investment, a big commitment around AI inside of your business, unless your business is a technology business, unless you're actually becoming an AI business. And the reason for that is that AI is changing so quickly that if you try and take on a big project or develop a big long-term plan around AI, you likely are going to plan for things that will be obsolete, or not even obsolete, but they're going to be surpassed very quickly by what is coming out next. So I think taking an iterative approach, look at your business across those 4 different functions. Ask yourself, where is the opportunity right now to improve? Where can I apply AI to either streamline my operations, streamline or support my delivery? Maybe instead of hiring somebody new for the team, I can actually use AI. And you can do a lot, deeper dive into this. I'm not going to go into all the details. And I'll say I'm still learning. Our team is still learning and applying across all of this. But figure out what is one area that you could benefit. Maybe it's in sales. Maybe it's in marketing. Maybe it's just to help you with your content creation and to overcome writer's block, or to take one piece of content or a presentation or a report, turn into multiple pieces, like repurpose your content. There are so many ways that you can use this, but I want to encourage you to think about what is the application and the implication, and how can you get the greatest value right now in your business for AI. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to think about what is the implication of AI in your client's business or in the marketplace that you serve. Remember, why do companies come to consultants? Why do they call upon you? Well, they call upon you for your expertise. They call upon you for you to provide the help, for you to provide the insight, so that they can see potentially what's around the corner before they get there. As a consultant, you likely bring a wealth of experience, expertise. You can see different things. You have different experiences, right? You talk to a lot of different people. You're able to bring all of that to your clients, and that hopefully becomes an advantage for them. AI is no different, and AI will have an impact on pretty much every industry around the world. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, doesn't matter what industry you're in, doesn't matter if you're new to consulting or you've been in consulting for 2 decades or longer, doesn't matter what your age is. The application, the implications of AI are staggering, and they will only continue to accelerate. And I think our world will look quite different, when we look back on what's happening right now. There's never been a time like this moment in our history. So you should be spending time thinking about it. And I say this very respectfully. I'm not saying that you need to. I don't know your exact situation, but I do believe that it's going to be worthwhile for you to spend time, studying and learning and thinking about what is the implication for the industry that I serve, or for the marketplace, for the types of clients that I work with, because that'll allow you to have some really valuable conversations to bring new insights, and your clients and prospective clients will likely really appreciate that you are helping them to think in ways that they may haven't thought about before, or to see things or to connect dots in a way that they haven't, connected those before. So that's number 2. Number 3 is to really think about long-term success. When we look at what's been happening in the world over the last little while, there's been a lot of uncertainty, and some might say there continues to be uncertainty. There's conflicts, there's tariffs, there's all kinds of things. And this is not about one country. This is not a political statement. This is the reality that there's been choppy waters. There's been challenging periods. And if you're in business for any period of time, this is now 20 plus years for me in building different businesses around the world and going through different periods and choppy waters, right? And challenges and turmoil and economic uncertainty and recessions and you name it. The key thing is just to understand that these things will continue to happen. The most important thing for your long-term success as a business owner and for you to be a confident consulting business owner is not to think about that this is not going to happen again. It is going to happen again. So learn from it. And so here's my suggestion for you. The kind of the third point is to find your weak spots, right? It's to look at your business and ask yourself, what in my business right now, did not work well over this last period, or what is working well and what isn't working well. So for example, maybe you have a client concentration issue. I've actually talked to 2 clients recently who are both running 7-figure consulting businesses, but for both of them, they have anywhere between 80 and 90% plus of their business coming from one source. That can be a very dangerous situation to be in. It's not where they should be. They know that. And so that's something that, that we're going to be supporting them and working them to address. But that's a weak point, right? There might also be that if you do some analysis, you may find that a lot of work that you're doing is not as profitable as you would like it to be, or maybe you thought that it was. That's an opportunity for you to address. Maybe right now there are certain areas in your business where you're spending time, but it's actually not a good use of your time. Or maybe there's work that you're doing that in fact is not work that is, maybe it's work that takes away your energy rather than that gives you energy. So don't just keep doing what you're doing. Use this as an opportunity to identify and to think about, where are my weak spots? What's working? What isn't? Then don't just sit on that. Take action on that, because that will, right? Even though you may be going through a period of challenge right now in your business, and potentially you are or you aren't, but if you are, then learn from that and then apply those learnings so that you can become stronger. And what that does over time is it compounds, because every time you take a learning, right, a lesson, and you apply it and make an improvement, you and your business become stronger, your team becomes stronger. And so as you move along, right, it doesn't matter kind of what the economy or what the external forces throw at you, you're in a better position to deal with them. And while many others are not applying things as actively as you are, that means that you will come out ahead. Number 4 is specialization. When we look at the world that we are in today, and I believe this will only continue to increase, is that there is more noise, there are more options, there are more people vying for the attention of your ideal clients. I just talked to somebody yesterday who said, I get 300 emails every day. And I said, well, when I looked at some data recently, I saw the average executive gets at least 350 emails per day. And those are just work emails. That's not even family stuff, personal accounts, social media. So people are being bombarded more than ever before with noise. I personally get more emails and more spam than I've ever gotten before, even though I should be getting less based on technology. So that being said, what's important, I think the opportunity for consultants right now is to really cut through the noise. And rather than trying to go to the market and saying you can do 5 different things for 5 different types of people, focus on what is the one thing that you are world class at solving. What is your solution that is different from what others are providing in the market? Because if you are going to the market and offering the same thing as everybody else and you're communicating the same way, then why should they really choose you? You really just end up becoming a commodity consultant, and there's no differentiation, there's no advantage. So you need to think about that. When you do that, right, you end up really being able to specialize. You stand out, you become more memorable. And if the problem that person has, or if the result that they desire is what you are pinpointing at, you're really speaking to, or you're creating content around, it becomes much easier for people to, again, remember you, for you to stand out, and for them to go, yeah, that connects to, my issue, rather than you trying to sprinkle a whole bunch of stuff that kind of casts you as a generalist. Now, the other application of this is that if we connect it to AI, it becomes also quite important, because when you think about, bringing your knowledge to a situation, if you have deep expertise in an area, you're going to be able to use AI in a way where a generalist wouldn't be able to, because a generalist wouldn't necessarily know the right questions to ask. So for you, applying that deep specialization and being able to use AI and ask questions or come at it from a different angle because you have that deeper level of expertise, the output of that will be even more valuable. All right, and then let's talk now about the 5th and final point here, which I believe is, again, incredibly important for you to focus on. And that is that because of technology and because of the acceleration and it's the inevitable growth of adoption around AI. There is less connection, right? And so people crave connection. As human beings, people want community, they want connection. Not everybody, not all the time, but if you think about what is happening with AI, automations, the way that most businesses and consultants and people are using technology, the goal for many is to get in front of more people more rapidly. And that tends to lead to less personalization and just knowing that they're going to get a ton of emails and a ton of notifications in LinkedIn. So again, how do you stand out from all of that? Well, you take the opposite approach, right? You don't try and get in front of as many people as you can from a marketing perspective in the terms of, or in the sense of just sending out emails to a lot of people. Instead, you get very focused on creating deep, meaningful relationships. And so instead of just trying to automate everything, and instead of trying to just push buttons and have kind of, AI agents take over everything in your business, you really want to think about where should you prioritize building relationships. And so that might sound a little bit in contrast or in opposition to what I just mentioned before about using AI, but it's not at all, because I think if you use AI in the right ways and you look at how you can apply it to streamline your business, your operations, to help you with content, to help you with aspects of your marketing or sales, but you don't want that to take away from the human side. Because again, people crave connection. People crave in-person meetings, for example. And so you want to think about what can you do to deepen that connection with your clients, with prospects. And that might be attending events, that might be hosting some kind of event online or offline. It might also be you thinking about what can you do to truly create more value for those that you want to work with or for those that you are working with in terms of your content, your intellectual property, right? The more that you give, the more that you show up in that way, that will be generally the opposite of what the average person is doing in the marketplace. And so while the average person is trying to use all these tools and technology to just blast and get a bunch of stuff out there, by you being more focused, more specialized, right, really knowing who you want to serve, how you can create value for them, and then thinking about ways and creating ways to deliver that value and to engage and cultivate relationships, that will separate you. And that will stand out from the buyer's perspective. Here's somebody who's not doing what everybody else is doing. They're not sending me an email that I can clearly tell that they've sent to hundreds of thousands of other people. They've personalized it, they've taken the time, or they've invited me to a unique event or to a dinner. These are all different ways that you can stand out. Right now, this is what I would be focused on. This is what we are seeing with many of our clients is working incredibly well by applying these things. So I hope that you have found this helpful. If you want to learn more about how you can grow your consulting business, how you can go from a busy consultant, maybe feeling overwhelmed at times, wondering what should I do and how to do it. Maybe you feel like you lack a plan or a system to take your consulting business to the next level, and you want to become a confident consulting business owner, then head over to consultingsuccess.com. Get in touch. We're always happy to chat with you and to see how we can help. Or click the link somewhere below or around this video or on the page that you're on. Have a great day.